Hello and welcome to S24 Rundown. I am Khadija Mohammed and here is our news in brief after the break. First up, President Bola Tinubu has approved a salary increase of between 30 and 80% for about 250 members of the armed forces, effective September 1st, 2026. Junior personnel will receive an 80% increase, warrant officers to colonels 50%, while brigadier generals to generals will get a 30% raise. The review raises the military's annual wage bill from 660 billion naira to 924 billion naira. The presidency says the increase recognizes the sacrifices of troops and reflects the administration's commitment to improving their welfare. Retired officers have welcomed the decision but called for better equipment, logistics, and healthcare, while serving personnel say they will celebrate fully once the new salaries are paid. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors says it is set to suspend its planned nationwide strike after reaching agreement with the federal government. Following a meeting at the presidential villa, both sides agreed on timelines to resolve salary, promotion, and allowance issues. Government also pledged prompt payment of house officers, stronger hospital security legislation to protect health workers, although the strike has not been formally called off. NARD says the major issues have largely been resolved. Meanwhile, the federal government has unveiled a new national policy for the enhancement of Almajiri education, banning learning centers from sending pupils to beg on the street. The policy requires all centers to register, capture learners' biometric data, and combine Quranic studies with literacy, digital, and vocational education. Centers that violate the ban risk sanctions, including closure. And the government says the reforms will improve child welfare while preserving the religious identity of Quranic education. Also, the federal government has directed vice chancellors, rectors, and provosts to dismiss any student found guilty of kidnapping or other violent crimes after due investigation. Education Minister Dr. Tunji Alausa also ordered institutions to strengthen security and work closely with intelligence agency to improve campus safety. The government says tertiary institutions must never become safe havens for criminals and pledge additional support to strengthen security infrastructure. And on the international scene, renewed fight between Ethiopia's military and the Tigray People's Liberation Front has forced hundreds of civilians to flee into neighboring Sudan. Both sides accuse others of violating the 2022 Pretoria Peace Agreement, raising fears of another humanitarian crisis in the Horn of Africa. And finally, U.S. President Donald Trump says his administration has held productive discussion with Iran, raising hopes of reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Reports say both sides are close to an interim agreement that could restore commercial shipping, although disagreements remain over Iran's nuclear program and regional security. The prospect of progress has boosted global markets while oil prices decline on expectation that shipping through the vital waterway could soon resume. And now, moving on to business news with Martha Okpalanindu. Hello, Martha.
Hello and welcome to S24 Business Updates. Dangote Refinery is reportedly preparing for what could become the largest initial public offering in Africa's history. According to reports, the company plans to raise about $5 billion through a stock market listing expected in October. If the listing goes ahead as planned, it would mark a significant milestone not just for the refinery, but for Nigeria's capital market as well. Analysts say the move could attract both local and international investors while providing fresh capital to support the refinery's expansion and other strategic projects. The refinery has continued to play a major role in boosting local fuel production and reducing Nigeria's dependence on imported petroleum products. In another development, there is some good news for consumers as the price of cooking gas is beginning to decline across parts of the country. Industry stakeholders say the drop follows the federal government's approval of import permits, which has improved the supply of liquefied petroleum gas, also known as LPG. Cooking gas prices have fallen by nearly 40% in many markets as increased availability eases supply pressure and encourages more competitive pricing. Although prices still vary from one location to another, marketers say the improved supply could help keep prices relatively stable in coming weeks, offering some relief to households and businesses that rely on cooking gas. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence is once again driving optimism across global financial markets. Stock markets in Asia and the United States posted gains as investors responded positively to strong earnings from companies benefiting from the rapid growth of AI. The latest rally reflects continued confidence that artificial intelligence will remain a key driver of innovation and corporate profits. Despite weaker performances from some major technology companies, investor sentiment remained upbeat, with AI-related businesses continue to attract strong interest and helping lift broader market indices. And that's your business update for today. Up next is our newspaper review after the break.
Welcome back from that break. And now, on to the newspaper review with Sarah Abel. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, Khadija. Thanks for having me today.
Well, welcome to today's newspaper review.
Yes.
So let's go right into the...
I'm excited for today's news.
You look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you very much.
I can't wait for us to digest the newspaper today.
Yes.
So let's go straight to the first newspaper, which is from the leadership, and it says, military minimum wage hits 187,000 as Tinubu approves 30 to 80% pay raise. Moving on the military people. So what's your take on that?
I am very happy. This is a long overdue thing that we're doing right now. And I commend President Tinubu. If he does well, we can tell him he does well. So this is a welcome development for our military in this period of insecurity that we are fighting for now. The wage is in 924 billion naira. That is a very good one. Our military deserve to be compensated for risking their life. The last time we spoke about this, I said that you cannot pay people with just patriotism, right? There's patriotism, but then you have to commend them for people who are ready to lay down their lives for our nation. So this is a welcome development.
So this morning, while I was reading the news, of course, that was even our first bulletin today. So there was something they said. It's about they are not going to celebrate now until that implementation is being fully
I think it's been implemented 1st of September, right?
Yes.
Yeah, for now at least, let us be happy that at least there is a news of the increment.
Yes.
I really hope and I implore the government to ensure that it is implemented in its totality.
Yes.
And also, I want to appeal to the government also to remember other security agencies and paramilitary also. In the fight of insecurity, you have to commend everybody involved and ensure, they have better pay in this period.
So why do you think the biggest increase went to the junior ranking personnel rather than the senior?
Because they earn less, Khadija. It was last 2 years that their pay was increased from 49,000 to 100,000. Come on, it's ridiculous. That's why I said this is a a long due process that should have happened since. I said it last time that we have been fighting insecurity for over a decade now. This is something that should have been done right from time. Every year there should be a salary increment for our military people, and also let's also think about the operational cost. Also, I think government should also not just about the salaries. Also, I mean, look at what happened in Sokoto. Just a very sad incident. That strike happened for hours, yet our military were nowhere to be found. Our paramilitary were nowhere to be found. Vigilantes were nowhere to be found. People even rushed into the river. They drowned trying to run away from these people that were attacking. So we have to look at operational costs, right? Do our military have enough equipment? What about their welfare, their feeding allowances, the barracks? What's the condition of the barracks? What about the hospital? I know that there's development on renovating the hospitals and all of that, but it should be something that the government takes very seriously also.
Yeah, and that brings me to my next question, even though you've highlighted something about it.
Yes.
If you've, I don't know if you visited some barracks around Abuja or anywhere.
Yes.
Believe me, if you go to those barracks and those junior officers, if you see where they are staying, it's unbearable.
It's deploring.
Yes,
actually.
it is.
That is why I even said the barracks also, and then I talked about other security agencies like the police. Have you gone to police barrack? Go to any state and go to a police barrack. You will not pay anybody to stay there. It is in a deplorable state. So, and these are people who are fighting for our lives as Nigerians, so to speak. So this is a welcome development, as I said, but the government really needs to look at other aspects also. Let us just not focus on, I have increased salary and then let's...
You know, they also mentioned it's not all about the salary.
Yes.
Their healthcare system, the houses, allowances and stuff. So sometimes I think if we look at the salary alone, are we sure that that salary alone is going to cover most of all those things? Because they have children. We should not forget about that.
Of course. We talked about this.
Yes.
We talked about even the benefits given to those who unfortunately lost their life while fighting for Nigeria. What happened to the widows, to the orphans, the children that they're left behind? How many things have the government have really put in place for them? And I said earlier this year, President Tinubu opened up a fund for that, but we are still yet to see the implementation in its totality on that. So this is a welcome development, but let us not drop the ball.
So that brings me to my next question. I think about 2 months back, I saw a video of some military personnel that where their legs were actually cut off, I think during an attack or something, and they were actually, you know, playing on social media that this is what they are going through. So I just hope this particular salary
that's why we
is
talked
going
about
to...
even apart from salary. This falls under their welfare, their health insurance. That's where is the, you know, if all the military hospitals have everything in place, they won't come out to be begging. They will be thinking about prosthetics for them, rehabilitation for them, you know, all the benefits that they deserve, because these people actually deserve everything and more.
So with the military wage bill increasing substantially, is this a sustainable commitment for the government? Because don't forget, the fact they mentioned they are not going to celebrate this now until it is being implemented.
Because they have seen promise and fail.
Exactly.
They have seen promise and fail. If Nigeria government, the present government and whichever government is going to take place from next year election, if they are truly serious about fighting insecurity, this should be a sustainable practice. Where is our money going to if we cannot pay our military personnel in the fight of insecurity? So I think you just said something about where is our money going to? If we are being honest, the military deserves better. Of course, like they deserve more than better. If there's another word, if there's another word I can use for that. So moving on, should similar welfare reviews be extended to other security agencies? Even though you mentioned something, you mentioned it earlier, like the police and civil defense. Because honestly, the military people are not only the people securing the country. Yes, they should. They should. I keep reiterating the fact that Nigerian government have never really taken insecurity and the fight of insecurity serious.
Yes.
But this is a welcome development against the fight of insecurity. Yes. So let's watch and see. Let's see how it plays out. Let's see the implementation of it.
Yeah.
Let's see if the soldiers will testify that yes, they are receiving this increment of salary. Let's see if the government will take into place their welfare, their hospital, and every other thing. Yeah. Let's watch out and see.
So basically, you are just saying these are the steps that the government needs to take in to put in place.
Yes.
Okay. So if I may ask you, what do you think is the solution to all of this? Even though we've mentioned, but the solution of they have already said by 1st of September the implementation is going to be implemented. So are they giving the military people assurance that they should look out to that September 1st?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, if it's been implemented September 1st, by the end of September, they should receive their remuneration. It is not a favor. That is what we don't understand. The government is not doing the soldiers a favor. It is their right to be remunerated properly. Yes.
Okay, so moving on. Thank you for sharing that with us. Moving on to our next headline coming from the Guardian. 57 state varsities, others in limbo over selective implementation.
As we're talking about state police, I also raised this thing with Gloria, and I said that what happens to states who can't actually pay their civil servants, then it will still bring inequality in security agencies across Nigeria. That's the same problem that is happening right now, where ASU and government have come into agreement about the increment of pay, for lecturers. But then again, you have lecturers who are working in state government, state-owned universities, right? But then you now have states saying that they can't pay. Why is it that every time we talk about welfare and remuneration, we have a lot of states saying that they can't pay? I keep reiterating that Nigeria need to decentralize fiscally, right? States need to take internal generated revenue very serious. Many states across Nigeria, their school fees are way higher, even ×2 of what federal government students are paying. If a state can establish state's university and even demand high payments from students, then they should be able to pay their lecturers properly. You can't keep running education on the goodwill of federal government alone. And this will now bring inequality in education. You have lecturers running away from state that are not paying properly to looking for jobs from federal owned universities because the pay and benefits is better. We need to do better as a state. State need more autonomy, more investment, right? They need to be given autonomy to generate their own revenue. And you have states that don't even take education serious. You can tell there are states that from their budget alone, that we are not serious. Any nation that is serious about its future will always invest in people. With these two topics of the soldiers' welfare and salary, and then you are now having lecturers' welfare and salary, it tells you that you need to invest in people. Because these are the future. You understand? You just don't put buildings in place and then you don't invest in the people that are going to teach your future.
Yes, or you expect the building to flourish without investing in that.
So this even brings a whole lot of questions, because if we are going forward as a nation, we need to decentralize a bit. We are too central focused. A lot of states don't even pay their civil servants until federal government give them their remuneration. You can't keep running state like this.
That's true.
We are too blessed in Nigeria to run like this. Every state have something to offer. God gave us good soil. We have agriculture. We have minerals. Is there a state that is barren in Nigeria? There's no state. Every state has it. So we need to focus. Each governor has to, sit up.
Do well.
Yeah.
When it comes to the budget.
Our students deserve better. They are the future. They need to be taught properly. They need all the infrastructure. You need to pay your lecturers. At this point, lecturers' salary is peanuts. It's ridiculous, So let's see how it goes between the federal government, ASU, and the state government.
Because I can actually say, for a lecturer in Nigeria, I don't think some of them might have a car, but not everybody. Most times,
none of them salary as a professor. We don't have professors that are earning up to 1 million naira.
So you can imagine.
That's the highest position you can have. If you're a graduate assistant, it's around 120,000.
And these are people that actually
and you want them to give you quality education.
How?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, and you're collecting high tuition rates. You should be able to balance it. Let all state governments ask themselves this question. If you are not able to have run a state universities properly, I don't think you should establish. You even have states that are establishing multiple state universities and then still looking for handouts from the government. It's not done that way.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sarah, for that. So what impact will this have on lecturers, the morale, staff retention, and the quality of education?
I said earlier, you see, you have lecturers that will be looking for federal government work. They will leave the school. They will leave schools that can't pay properly.
And that brings me to my next question. There's this the IPPIs, they told some of the lecturers they should register.
Yeah.
A lot of them refuse.
There's a distrust between the lecturers and the government.
Yes,
there's a huge distrust. So even when they were implementing this raise and all, I think they should have still sat down. ASU should have still covered all bases. You don't just agree to this thing and then you are now falling back pleading to the governors.
Yes,
everybody should be able to. I think we need a lot of reforms. Our Educational Reform Act, our Electoral Reform Act. I keep saying this thing. We need an overhaul if we're trying to move forward as a nation. Yeah. So,
Sarah, what does this mean for students who are often the biggest victims when university disputes arise?
We are killing our future. That's just what it means. Because people will drop out. We now have poor education. I keep saying it with this NYC thing that is going on, NYC reform that is going on. We say we want to start doing trainings for our graduates. And I ask the question, why is it that our graduates are not ready to be employed after school? You've gone to school for 5 years. Why do you need one extra year to be employable? It shows the quality of our education. Because you've done internship while in school. Why do you need further? And you have a lot of people that even leave school and then the training that they get is completely different from what they studied. It shows the quality of education they have in the nation.
and you just said something that just brought my attention.
Yeah.
You said while students will graduate for for course of 4 to 5 years, and you need an extra 1 year before you can actually be employed. So another point we also forget is the fact that there are some organizations that you even need some certain experience before you can be employed.
If we are serious about education in this country,
yes,
those type of experiences should have been had while in school. We have internship in schools. We have people. There's a gap period while in school. Some schools do 6 months, others do 1 year to go and get the on-site knowledge. Some of those companies that are looking for extra this thing, how many of them have even put in place partnership with universities to say, okay, bring your students over here as interns, so they can learn on the job. So immediately they are being graduated, they are ready.
And sometimes the annoying part, you see that as a graduate, let's say you even graduate with first class. At the end of the day, you just get a little thing. A first class graduate, honestly.
Yeah.
And there's some kind of competition that you see that if first class somebody, because you have first class, they'll tell you that we are not employing you because you're
too high.
Yes. So I think we need to do better when it comes to the education system.
We really need to. Our labor laws, our education reforms, we have a lot of things to work on.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you, Khadija.
Thank you. And we have come to today's edition of Newspaper Review. Up next is S24 Report, coming to you after the break. Don't go anywhere.
As westernization continues to shape lifestyle across Africa, many young people are becoming increasingly disconnected from the continent's cultural heritage. Historical sites are neglected, indigenous traditions are fading, and the stories that define African identity risk being forgotten. The Africa International Documentary Festival Foundation, AFIDEF, believes heritage can still inspire a new generation. To reverse this trend, the foundation launched Heritage in Motion, an initiative aimed at transforming Africa's cultural heritage into a catalyst for jobs, storytelling, and the opportunities for young creatives. Launching the initiative, the Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism, and the Creative Economy Hannatu Musawa, says Heritage in Motion aligns with the federal government vision of diversifying the economy through arts, culture, and the creative industries.
Heritage in Motion is, in every sense, that agenda made very comfortable and made very visible. It is both an honor and a profound responsibility to stand before you today, one that speaks to something at the very core of who we are as a nation and as a continent, our heritage, our identity, our ideal, and our story.
The Heritage in Motion initiative aligns with the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President perfectly. It's his job creation, its training, and its cultural preservation. Through the program, the youth are being trained in different skills and developments within the creative economy.
The initiative also showcased AFIDEV's documentation of iconic historical sites, including the UNESCO-listed Sukkur Cultural Landscape, Gashaka Gumti National Park, and the ancient Kano City Wall, highlighting efforts to preserve Africa's stories for future generations.
Yeah, I've been with them for the past 5 years. We've been together. We've been to Sukkur, we've been to Gembu, we've been to Gashaka-Gumti. We, as an agency, mapped the whole of the Gembu with about 7 to 9 enclaves, looking at the German fort, the British fort.
As an actor, my job is to step into the role and create a character that depicts close to life of whether it's a cultural, right now, you see me wearing bed because I'm still on set filming, portraying the role of a native doctor.
As modernization continues to reshape society, AFIDEV's Heritage in Motion is proving that preserving Africa's history and culture is key to protecting its identity. By documenting the continent's heritage today, this initiative is ensuring the stories endure for generations to come. I am Mariam Al-Hatur, reporting for S24 Television.
Hello and welcome to Political Arena on S24 Television, and I'm your host, Oniye Shukra. As public conversations are increasingly moving online, so too have concerns about harassment, intimidation, and misuse of digital platforms. While many are arguing that stronger laws are needed to protect citizens from online abuse, others warn that tighter regulation could have implications for freedom of expression and democratic participation. So where should we draw the line? Joining me to discuss this is Nana Fatima Bello, a lawyer, a gender advocate, and a political strategist. Thank you for joining me, Nana.
Thank you for having me.
How do you do today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay, so let's go to the first question of the day. Where does Nigerian constitution stand on digital rights and freedom of expression?
I would say the Nigerian constitution, we already have freedom of freedom of expression. We already have it enshrined in our constitution. So you can see that even though we have that freedom of expression enshrined in the constitution, we don't necessarily have any form of, digital provision with regards how our freedom of expression is going to be navigated or how we can navigate our freedom of expression within the provisions of the constitution. So I guess there's the challenge with that. I've been seeing conversations being had about maybe it's time for us to actually implement digital provisions in our constitution to show the modern times that we live in with how technology is moving.
Okay, so let me move to online abuse in Nigeria. So when we talk about online abuse, what does that what does that contain? What is all of that about?
Well, online abuse, or, as in my space, in the line of work that I do, it's mostly called, technology facilitated gender-based violence, as we call it. you would see different forms of it, but then it's something that people, as we move today with the kind of society we live in, you know, with the whole rise of, you know, banger boys and bands on social media, you know, crews that we do on social media, people usually like to blur the line on what, you know, online abuse entails, because we have things like cyber stalking, we have things like cyber bullying, which is like the most common form of online abuse that there is. We have harassment, we have doxing, we have sextortion as well, we have impersonation, so many different forms that, you know, our people don't necessarily see them as being forms of abuse, but in reality they actually are. So there's a lot.
Okay, so as social media made online abuse more prominent, or because we now use social media every day, we now see it, or people now have access to do anything they like, abuse anybody, because social media, I mean, it's the digital world. You can talk to anybody, you can tag anybody, you can do anything. So as social media made it more easy for you to see that, oh, this is an abuse, or it has made it more easy for people to commit the abuse?
I think it's a mixture of both, you know. With the rise of social media, we are seeing a rise in online abuse. Obviously, the name is online abuse, so it's happening online. And with the rise of social media and the rise of technology, we are seeing more of that. We're seeing more of people being victims. And then we also have spaces on social media that actually allow people to be the perpetrators of perpetrators of online abuse like this. We have, you know, like, let's say, for instance, I'm speaking from the female perspective, the rise of the manosphere and all the anti-feminism, and all the anti-feminism rhetorics that are going around. You can't even say you're fighting for women without someone coming to insult you, you know, and all of those things. So I definitely would say that social media has made it easier for people to be bullies and to, you know, perpetrate or abuse itself online. But then also at the same time, just because social media exists does not mean that abuse is not happening. Like, we're seeing abuse offline, but then also online because of, you know, social media itself, and because we have so much access. Our phones are in our hands. We literally, anything you want to do, your phone is right there with you. You can talk to somebody from wherever it is that they are. You can do this, you can do that just from your phone. So it's making the abuse itself easier. I would say that.
And it's making it easier for you to identify it.
Yes.
Okay, so are they laws related to cybercrime in Nigeria?
Well, yes, I think off the top of my head, I think we have two major laws that deal with this. We have the Cybercrimes Act, and then we also have the Nigerian Data Protection Act as well. So I think those are, should I say, the two major laws that we have, or the two major laws that address cyber crimes in Nigeria.
Okay, so are these laws adequate, or the real challenge here is the enforcement of the laws that are already in place?
To be honest, it's a mixture of both. The laws themselves are not adequate because there are certain provisions that there are certain types of technology facilitated violence that they don't necessarily address. And then we also have the problem of implementation as well. So you can see it's both things that are happening. The laws themselves seem to not be enough. And then at the same time, enforcement for the laws that are already there also seems to be a challenge.
Okay, so at what point does online abuse stop being a personal issue? Like, it stopped being about one person or set of people, and now it is now an issue that the government should look into?
Well, just like with gender-based violence in general, it's something that happens to one person, but then we're seeing more of it happening, happening. It's the same with online abuse. And then for me personally, where it becomes less of a personal issue and more of a general, a public hazard, I like to call it, is the fact that it's not just affecting us, it's affecting children. Children are children online are incredibly vulnerable, especially within the space that we live in. Because I was reading this statistic that said we have over 150 million Nigerians online, and over 70% of those 150 million people are young people. And if you look at the percentage of that 70%, a good number of them are children. Children are incredibly vulnerable when it comes to these online spaces. They don't have any restrictions that are protecting them. They have nothing in space that are protecting them. Like, for instance, this Hamangle article that came out about the Hausa Telegram network with the whole CSAM, it's things like this that remind us, or that show you that this is something that is bigger than, this person is insulting this person online. It's something that needs government intervention.
Okay, so political conversations online have become increasingly hostile. And how much of that hostility is being driven by politicians, parties, and their supporters?
politicians and parties and supporters, I would say that's mostly, should I say, I don't want to call it engineered because I don't want to sound like a propagandist, but in the political space we live in, as someone who also does political commentary 1 or 2 times, there is definitely a form of violence that comes with, the supporters of whoever it is that you're criticizing coming to not tell you that, oh no, actually this is what is going on, but coming to tell you things, in a very hostile way, insulting you, some going as far as doxing you, harassing you, sending you threats. So I don't know, I don't want to put out allegations, so I'm not going to say that, oh yes, they're engineering it.
We can put that question on a break. This has been Political Arena. If you're watching, and we will be going on a short break, we'll be back shortly.
This classification is very critical. The rationale is not just mere classifying, but it finds its root from the main mandate of the Commission, that is ensuring that we maintain up-to-date information, up-to-date register. And the essence of this register is for the general public, law enforcement agencies, financial institutions, and other government organizations to be able to have current information on companies that have been registered with the Commission. And this confirmation is very critical from all aspects in terms of if you're looking at it from the angle of the government organization, it's very important for them for the purposes of licensing, procurement processes. And then if you're looking at it from the business perspective now, generally anyone that will want to transact with the business will want to know the true status of a company. So if you look at it, the classification, the rationale is like multifunctional, shall I say, both for the Commission in enabling us to deliver on our mandate, and then for the general public, that is both the business environment, the financial institutions, and the general public, and also to the law enforcement agencies, because it also assists them in their investigations, so as well as the tax authorities, because it helps the tax authorities to also know companies that are not just dormant, companies that are in business and filing their returns up to date with the Commission. Looking at where we're coming from, CAC predates the online registration. At some point, our processes were done online. We've transitioned from a fully manual process to a semi-manual to a fully digitized system, and now an AI-driven system. Yes, at the moment, since we have digitized our processes end-to-end, everything is covered online. But if you look at the journey so far, we definitely have legacy records, meaning that at some point, companies file their annual returns manually. So if we have circumstances where we're dealing with annual returns that have to do with companies that were registered prior to our full digitization, we might have to revert to some form of verification from the manual records. But in terms of the filing of the annual returns, in terms of compliance, everything is digitized and is done online. A search report online and that indicates a company is active is a confirmation that the company is up to date with its statutory filing, its annual return filing. The main drive of the Commission now is to ensure that we move from having companies just on paper. We need to have companies that serve the purpose for which they are registered, that is impacting on the economy. And with this, what we expect from companies is beyond registration, companies should comply with their statutory filings, most especially the annual returns that is required to be filed on a yearly basis, and other statutory filings that are provided under the Act. I would say for the most common, it's the annual returns, and then the beneficial ownership disclosure. Most people, I can understand this is a new requirement under the Act, and people are trying to still familiarize themselves with it. But I know on that aspect, the Commission has been doing a lot of sensitization. So this is one area that I would say, yes, there's compliance level, but we'll still encourage the general public to do better.
Security operations continue across Nigeria as troops intensify offensives against terrorists, kidnappers, and other criminal elements, recording fresh successes in ongoing operations across the country. Welcome to Security Update on S24 Rundown. I am Gloria Atta, and here are today's top stories. Let's begin. The Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja has been temporarily closed following a credible security threat. The stadium management announced that all entrances to the facility have been shut on the directive of the police headquarters, while security personnel have been deployed to enforce the closure. Authorities have directed everyone within the stadium premises to leave peacefully and advised members of the public to avoid the area until further notice. No timeline has been given for the reopening of the 60,000 capacity National Sports Facility, with officials saying further updates will be communicated as security assessments continue. Meanwhile, the Defense Headquarters has extended its surrender policy to non-state armed groups operating across the country. Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, says the policy, previously focused on insurgents and bandits in northern Nigeria, now also applies to armed groups in the southeast, south-south, and southwest. According to him, individuals who voluntarily surrender will be treated in line with international humanitarian law before being handed over to the appropriate authorities for legal action. He also clarified that there is no deadline for surrender, even as the military intensifies ongoing operations against criminal elements nationwide. The announcement follows the recent surrender of suspected militants and the recovery of weapons during Operation Udoka in the southeast. Troops of Operation Enduring Peace have arrested 19 suspects during a security operation in Riom local government area of Plateau State. The raid targeted Tongoron community as part of efforts to tackle those responsible for the recent ambush on security personnel along the Ganawuri-Sabongida axis. Military sources say the suspects, made up of 14 indigents and 5 Fulani residents, are currently undergoing profiling to determine any links to the attack and other criminal activities. And finally, the Abia State Police Command has arrested 13 suspects over alleged armed robbery, vandalism of government property, and unlawful possession of firearms. Police say the suspects, aged between 20 and 27, were apprehended in separate intelligence-led operations across the state. The command says investigations are ongoing and has reaffirmed its commitment to tackling crime while urging residents to continue providing timely security information. And that's it from the nation's security front. Remember, stay informed, stay vigilant, and continue to support lawful efforts aimed at keeping our communities safe. Bye for now.
Technology is opening up new opportunities across Nigeria, Africa, and the world. Here are today's top stories. Starting with the Nigerian Communication Commission, also known as the NCC, has signed an agreement with the Enugu State government to bring its industrial park and learning center into full operation. The project is expected to improve technology, education, encourage innovation, and create opportunities for startups and young entrepreneurs. The Digital Industrial Park will provide modern facilities where businesses, students, and innovators can learn new skills, develop ideas, and build technology-driven solutions. The partnership is also aimed at expanding inclusion by giving more people access to technology, training, and business opportunities, especially in the Southeast. Still in Nigeria, Kwara State is preparing for a major technology event. The town of Offa will host the first ever Kwara Tech Fest 2026. The festival will bring together startup funders, software developers, investors, students, and technology experts from across Nigeria. Organizers say the goal is to attract investment, promote innovation, and help young people develop practical technology skills that can create jobs and support economic growth. Now to Africa. Africa's technology sector continues to grow as more countries expand their 5G networks. Faster internet means quicker downloads, smoother video calls, and better support for businesses that rely on services. However, industry experts say one major challenge still remains. Many smartphones that support 5G are still expensive for millions of Africans. Because of this, there are more growing calls for government, manufacturers, and telecom companies to make smartphones more affordable so more people can benefit from faster internet access. Experts believe that reducing the cost of devices is just as important as expanding network coverage if Africa wants to close the digital gap. And finally, around the world, low Earth orbit or LEO satellites are changing how internet services reach remote communities. Unlike traditional satellites, LEO satellites operate much closer to the Earth, allowing internet signals to travel faster with lower delay. At the same time, more companies are building local data centers across developing markets. Instead of sending information to servers located thousands of kilometers away, data can now be stored and processed closer to users. This reduces delays, improves online services, and helps businesses provide faster and more reliable experiences. Together, satellites and local data centers are helping connect rural communities that have long struggled with poor internet access while improving network performance for millions of users. And that's your tech update for today. I am Gladys Asuko. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in our next segment.
From a major Afrobeat collaboration and a global campaign led by Nigerian music icon to Jennifer Lopez taking a nostalgic trip down memory lane. Welcome to today's entertainment updates. UK Nigerian singer Daku is teaming up with Afrobeat star Asake for a brand new single titled That Girl, dropping on August 6th. The Afrofusion track is expected to blend Daku's smooth UK rap style with Ashake's signature Fuji-inspired sound. With both artists enjoying international success, fans are already counting down to what could become another chart-topping hit. From a fresh collaboration to a global campaign putting African creativity in the spotlight, music legend Dare at Alade is representing Nigeria in Glenn Muraji's biggest Africa-focused campaign, Once Upon a Time in Scotland. The campaign also features Kenyan actress Kate Kamu celebrating African storytelling through culture, creativity, and craftsmanship. Dare hosted the Lagos launch, bringing together some of Nigeria's leading entrepreneurs and creatives as part of the Whiskey Brands Pan-Africa initiative, which will run across Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa through December. And finally, one superstar is proving that some classics never go out of style. Jennifer Lopez has recreated Madonna's iconic Like a Virgin moment while on a family trip to Venice, Italy, before her twins head off to college. Sharing the video online, Lopez danced aboard a gondola through the same canals featured in Madonna's 1984 music video, writing, "I simply had to do it." The actress and singer also reflected on missing the opportunity to perform alongside Madonna and Britney Spears at the unforgettable 2003 MTV Video Music Awards because of filming commitments. And that's your entertainment updates from exciting music and global recognition for Africa to a talent that is to an unforgettable pop culture throwbacks. The entertainment world will never run out of surprises. I'm Karimet Hassan. Thanks for watching. Coming up next is Sports Updates. Do stay with us.
The transfer season is doing what it does best, keeping football fans glued to every headline, while another historic sporting moment is unfolding right here in Nigeria. Hello, active people, and welcome to another exciting day in the world of sports. Let's get started. Arsenal are close to signing Newcastle United captain Bruno Guimaraes in what could be one of the biggest deals of the summer. Report says the Gunners are close to agreeing a deal around £75 million, while the Brazilian midfielder has already agreed personal terms. The move is expected to be completed once the final details are sorted. Guimaraes joined Newcastle in 2022 and quickly became one of the team's most important players. He later became captain and played a big role in the club's recent success. If the deal goes through, Arsenal will be adding a player with plenty of Premier League experience as they prepare for the new season. And moving on to Chelsea, the Blues are also busy in the transfer market and are close to signing Spanish defender Pep Xaviera from Real Vallecano. The deal is believed to be worth about £16.3 million, with reports saying talks between both clubs are now in the final stages. Xaviera played as a left-back and is expected to give Chelsea another option in the defense. An official announcement is expected once the remaining paperwork is completed. And finally, to a proud moment for Nigerian sports. Lagos has become the home of Africa's first wheelchair fencing academy. The academy is bringing together athletes, coaches, and referees from different countries to learn, train, and help grow wheelchair fencing across Africa. The program is organized by World Ability Sports together with the Commonwealth Fencing Federation and the Nigerian Fencing Federation. It also comes ahead of the 2026 Commonwealth Fencing Championships, which will be held in Lagos. For the first time, wheelchair fencing will be included in an official medal event. The academy is expected to give more athletes with disability the chance to compete and succeed in the sport. And that's your sports update for today. I am Udokan Godspoa. Do stay with us as Pidgin News comes your way after the break.
Una welcome my country people. I don't come again with another set of latest story from our country to the world. Now, make we begin the yarn within carriers come. President Bola Tinubu don approve say make them increase the salary for about 250,000 members of the armed forces by 30% to 80%, and it go start from September 1, 2026. Junior personnel go collect 80% increase, warrant officers, reach colonels go collect 50% increase, while brigadier generals, reach generals go collect 30% rise. This review don't push the military yearly wage bill from 660 billion naira reach 924 billion naira. The presidency talks say this increase shows say them recognize the sacrifice where our gallant troop they make, and it shows say the government they ready to improve their welfare. Retired officers don't welcome the decision, but them they hammer on top the matter of better weapon, vehicle, and health care. While the serving personnel talk say they go celebrate if the money enter their hand. And for our second story, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors don't talk say them they ready to suspend their planned nationwide strike after them and federal government reach agreements. After the meeting we then get for presidential villa, both sides don't agree on time to resolve salary promotion and allowance matter. Government still they promise say them go pay their house officers quick, tighten hospital security, and make law to protect health workers. Even though them never officially call off the strike, NARD talks say them don't almost solve the matter finish. And our third matter carriers go federal government side again as them don't release new national policy for the betterment of Almajiri education. Them don't ban learning centers, make them know they send pupils go streets, go they beg again. The policy say all centers must they registered and they must join the learners biometric data and join Quranic studies with normal school, computer training and handwork education. Any center will break this rule go face punishment and them go close the place down. Government talks say this change will help the welfare of the children while still keeping the religious identity of the Quranic education alive. And we still did the federal government side as them don't give order to vice chancellors, rectors, and provosts say make them throw away any student we caught or proper investigation find guilty of kidnapping or any other violent crimes.
Education Minister Dr. Tunji Alausa always tell schools say make them tighten security, make them work hand in hand with intelligence agencies to make their campus safe. Government talk say higher institution no be place for crime or criminal activities, and them they promise say them go support them with more equipment to strengthen their security. And another Tori don carry us go Ethiopia. Between Ethiopia military and Tigray People's Liberation Front, fights don't break out and hundreds of civilians don't run go Sudan. Both sides they accuse each other, say them break the 2022 Pretoria Peace Agreement. And this one they make people fear say another big yawa or kasala don't burst for the hot horn of Africa again. And now make we quickly go overseas as the US President Donald Trump don't talk say them don't hold better discussion with Iran. And this one don't give hope say them fit open the Strait of Hormuz back. Reports can't even talk say both sides don't almost reach small agreements where if you make businesses, ships start to they move again. Even though this small agreement still they about Iran nuclear program and security for the area. This progress don't make global oil markets better while oil price safe don't come down because people they expect the ship go soon start to pass the Strait of Hormuz again. And my people, now here we go hang our story today. Thank you, and I go see you next time.
Look at a rally, the stage, buses, jet movement, billboards, data teams, influencers, security, cops, rise, media buys. Then ask, is this politics or an invoice waiting to be paid? Under the Electoral Act 2026, a presidential campaign can spend up to 10 billion naira, governor 3 billion naira, Senate 500 million naira, reps 250 million naira, and state assembly 100 million naira. One donor can now give a candidate up to 500 million naira. The law also says parties must file election expense records after results are announced. The real story is not only the limit, it is the source. Campaign money can become access. Access can become contracts. Contracts can become silence. The voter sees posters, the funder sees return on investment. In 2027, every convoy carries a question: who paid? What was promised? And will that bill return as public policy? This is not suspicion, it is civic due diligence. This is Mandate Ledger again. Read the record, decide with clarity.
Thank you, Shukra, with another version of our news. And this brings us to the end of S24 Rundown. Do join us tomorrow, same time, and do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at S24 Television for more updates.
Imagine an election where most citizens with cards stayed away. In 2023, Nigeria registered 93.4 million voters. About 24.5 million were accredited. Valid votes were just about 24 million. The winning vote stood at about 8.8 million. That means the next contest may not be decided by Nigeria's loudest voice. It may be decided by Nigeria's most present voters. A ballot is not a tweet. It is an entry into the national ledger. It affects budget, security, schools, taxes, debts, appointments, petrol prices, food supply, business climate, and the value of every naira in your pocket. In 2027, absence will still be counted, not as a protest, but as silence. Before you say, my vote cannot count, ask this question. What if 10 million citizens say the same thing on the same day? Power is not vacant. If serious citizens step back, organized interests step forward. This is Mandate Ledger. Read the record and decide with clarity.